What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. In this one, we're landing an F-18 on our road base. Now, this is the base that I built for some of my vegan missions, but lately I've been watching some Finnish F-18s do real-life approaches in these sort of roads and the forest somewhere in Finland. And I thought, you know what, why not we do DCS? Because, you know, I think I built a pretty nice base here myself, so let's see how it's done. Now, I can find any official documentation as to how they fly, the procedures, etc. So if somebody knows, please comment down below, because it'd be really interesting to actually do it, you know, exactly the same way they've done it. But I figured out a sort of way that I think works, and that's why I thought I'll do a little video, just because it looks cool, and plus, you know, it's a slightly more challenging approach in this particular road base, which I'll show you now in a second. But basically, we have a portable TACAN. 87 X-ray is what we need to tune in, and you'll see it, so we can navigate to here no problem. And after that, instead of using the standard sort of 800-foot circuit that you use in F-18 for carrier approaches, I've modified it and I set 1,000 feet because I think it just works a little bit better. It gives you a little bit more space, a little bit more time. You don't have to make it quite as tight and narrow. Now you'll see what makes it a little bit more interesting here as well is that the aircraft and approach, as you can see, it's a little bit offset center line, right? And it's just because my landing or flying skills are rubbish. It's just because on this side we have a big tree, as you can see. It sort of sticks out. If you were to actually make a straight on approach, you would actually sort of clip it right with your right wing. Now this is why we're sort of coming in from this angle and then we're rolling out on center line very last moment, but it's not a huge kink, so I think, you know, it would be doable in real life if they had to do it. It's just a little bit more challenging. But in order to fly it accurately, we do need to think about it ahead of time, right? So if I show you on the F10 map, this is where we are at the moment. This is the road base. Now the final approach track is 249. We are actually going to be coming in at an offset, and we're using this bridge over here to navigate from. So we want to be just to the left of it once we're on the approach, and we're coming in sort of like at this angle. So when we fly the circuit, it'll be 1,000 feet right turn out and then back here, and then we just want to cross to the right side of the bridge, right? So it's kind of a longer circuit than you'd have like on a carrier or something, but it just gives you a little bit more room, a little bit more space, and you can set yourself up quite nicely. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I think we should roll the tape.
We have 2 good engine starts. You're clear to disconnect the headset. We'll see you on the left with the pin. Thanks a lot.
Alright, so here we are in the cockpit of our F-18. Let's set her up then. What do we need? We need HSI, TACAN. Oh, actually, I haven't got it selected yet. So let's do A-18C X-ray, which is what it is. Now we can select it. Romeo Oscar Bravo. That is the portable TACAN on the road base. This page, I think we can go to checklist. Also, might as well set the BRC, or sort of BRC, which is 249, enter. So this is pretty much the same as what you would do approaching the carrier. This side, I think the HUD would be useful, and radial altimeter, set that to 150. Alright, perfect. So we've got everything set up. Now we are looking for a bridge out here, which we're going to be using as a reference. Let's set the radio altimeter. We're looking for about 1,000 feet. Now normally carrier approaches, you guys know, you do it at 800 feet, but we're going to do 1,000 feet, 350 knots, just because it gives you a little bit more room for, you know, having to look over your landing zone and area. And I think it just works better. But if you guys are aware of particular procedures that are used for making an approach in a road base in an F-18, which I assume the Finns would know most about, then please comment down below, because it'd be really interesting to know to do it the official way, because, you know, I don't know what that would be exactly. Right, so very quickly just scan everything, make sure everything's okay. Yep, okay. Right, so here it is. This is a little road base. Looking for about 1,000 feet. Just a touch higher, but the ground changes fairly significantly because obviously it slopes up this way. Right, let's kill the auto throttle and pull back, and we're looking for a reciprocal heading of 069. Now initially I just made the pullback quite harsh just to make it look cool, but now we're just going to slow it right down because we've started on the other side of the runway, so we don't make it too tight for the circuit. So just nice and gentle. Let's get the gear down. First stage of flaps. Landing lights coming on. Alright, looking for 069. Should be coming pretty soon. There we go, looking at the HSI as well, it's a good reference. So there we are. This is first stage of flaps here initially. Just add a bit of thrust. Now you won't get the radio altimeter exact everywhere here because you know the ground is up and down all over the place. So you just gotta play it by ear. Now this little bridge over here, this is what we're using as our reference point. We want to be just to the right of that, or well, to the left once we're actually on an approach track, to line ourselves up to coming in between the trees. So let's get our last stage of flap. And now let's look at the landing checklist. So wheels, yep, flat, hook not required, anti-skid is on. Harness dispenser, right, dispenser, that's going to come off, so dispenser is off. Alright, so here's our little bridge. Just want to be to the left of that as we make our approach. Let's start tightening our turn, and I think we can also start descending here. Just don't end up too high. Alright, it's looking good. There's the runway there. Now we're just going to kill the thrust because once we roll out here, we're going to balloon. So there we go. That's looking pretty tidy. Yep. I'll just make the approach in between those two trees. There's a tall tree on the right. Well, just almost just to the right of the center line, which is where the flight path vector is pointing to at the moment. That's where we don't want to go. So we'll just aim before the threshold here initially, and then we'll roll out a little nicer. Here's the tree that we were trying to avoid, coming on the right hand side. Alright, rolling out nice and gentle. Killing the thrust, speed brakes coming out, and we're on the brakes. Now I think personally the braking performance of the DCS Hornet is not really adequate compared to what I think the real thing might be. I mean, obviously, you know, here, you know, on the road or on a runway, like full brakes, and look how slowly it comes to a stop. And that's with the anti-skid on, which I think is a little bit bizarre. But anyway, here we are then. We made it. I just thought it'd be cool to show you guys my little road base, which I've spent a little while creating. So, you know, it's got road posts on both sides, and you know, this bridge is blocked off by a Bradley and a Hummer. This side as well, there's some road posts. But anyway, unfortunately, ED hasn't given us a proper road base FARP that would be realistic, because you'd have, like, you know, hangars in between trees, and you'd have obviously you wouldn't have aircraft standing here on the grass, but you know, unfortunately this is about as good as it gets in terms of DCS. So and obviously the objects that I've had to use for you know, depicting the runway edge is, well, these sort of tank bollard things, which are completely inappropriate, but you know, from here it looks pretty realistic. And this is where we had to avoid those trees, so coming from this angle, because it just makes that a little bit more challenging. If you line up straight here, you're going to clip that tree with your wing. But anyway, that's it. It took me ages to actually find a straight, like completely straight bit of road that's long enough and that's realistic enough. Because no matter where else you go or look, you know, the roads are all a bit curvy, they're up and down, or there's some sort of like light poles or some other obstacles that just make it totally unrealistic. But this bit of ground is perfect, and if you guys are interested in finding out where it is just to the south of Kutaisi, or south west I should say. So just over here was a kink in the river. You'll see the road sort of curves, and it's got a really straight bit. And there's a whole bunch of cows here as well. But anyway, that's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please make sure to smash the living daylight out of the like button, subscribe for future videos, and I shall catch you in the next one. Adios.